In fact, my eye was blinded by my grandmother," said the daughter during her award-winning speech at the competition. Hearing these shocking words, the mill in the audience tried to bolt for the door. However, she was caught by the men nearby and handed over to the police. Even while being led away, the mill kept shouting, "I didn't do anything." Yet, everyone present believed the daughter's words. And so, the daughter was finally freed from her oppressive mill. "My name is Emily, and I'm 39 years old. I live with my older husband, Mike, our fourth grader daughter, Isabel, and my in-laws. Out of the blue, let me tell you, Isabel is blind. She lost her sight in both eyes after an accident that occurred while she was out with her mill years ago. Nevertheless, Isabel continued to be passionate about playing the piano. For Isabel, the piano is something special. We currently live in a house with my in-laws, and they have a grand piano. Originally, that grand piano belonged to the mill. She had also taken piano lessons since she was a child and had aspired to be a pianist. But it seems that Mill didn't have the talent to make it as a professional pianist. Even after graduating from a music conservatory, she couldn't find work as a pianist and eventually took a regular office job. That's where she met my father-in-law. He knew about her dream and suggested she become a piano teacher since a pianist's job was off the table. They bought a house right after getting married, soundproofed a room for the grand piano Mill already had, and prepared to take on students. Initially, the piano classes started really small, just 1 or 2 students, but word of mouth spread, and at one point, she had about 20 students. Even my husband, Mike, learned piano as a kid due to Mill's influence. Later, Mike developed an interest in baseball and quit piano. But Mill always said she'd definitely teach our grandkids piano someday. So when Isabel was born, she started teaching her piano from a very young age. Even when Isabel was still in the womb, Mill would play the piano every day as some form of prenatal education. Maybe because of that, Isabel started sitting in front of the piano and practicing from around the age of 2.5. Isabel, who's been familiar with the piano since she was little, even has perfect pitch. Now, she can easily play songs by ear. According to Mill, Isabel has a natural talent for piano. Despite becoming blind, Isabel never skipped her piano practice. Mill was with her all the time, practicing for hours on end every single day. Thanks to that, Isabel has managed to play the piano proficiently even after losing her sight. Even though she's blind, it seems like Isabel's senses have sharpened. Her piano playing is so expressive that even a novice like me is moved by it. At my Mill's piano recitals, among a sea of students, Isabel is always the finale, a testament to her talent. My Mill is determined to turn Isabel into a professional pianist and has recently entered her into a piano competition. The competition is 2 months away, but intensive training has already begun. Gone are the days of a few hours of practice. Now it's practice before elementary school, practice after school, and more practice after dinner. My Mill keeps saying, "I want Isabel to fulfill the dreams that I couldn't." She says this day in and day out. Sometimes they'd even go to public parks with pianos for live performances, and Isabel was all for it. I usually accompany them to act as Isabel's eyes. As the competition nears, Isabel's performance level is rising, to the point where she outshines most adults. More people are stopping to listen when she plays in public spaces. Then my Mill would say, "This young lady is blind, yet she's overcome her handicap to play like this. Please stop and listen the next time you see her playing here." She's now getting attention on social media as a young, blind pianist, and crowds stop to listen when she performs. No one could be happier about this than my Mill. She's now using social media to bring global attention to Isabel's talent. Lately, all she talks about is, Now the world will get to know Isabel. She's definitely getting closer to her dream of becoming a pianist. It's always the same story. Isabel started to show signs of fatigue with an upcoming music competition. She's not only practicing her competition pieces, but also playing trendy songs for My Mill's social media posts. So, Isabel's practice sessions are getting more grueling each day. Despite this, Isabel keeps practicing without a single complaint. I started to think that My Mill is pushing her too hard. And as her mom, I needed to say something. Listen, Mel, don't you think you are pushing Isabel too hard lately? And why are you filming videos right before an important competition? Can't you consider her well-being? My Mel snapped back. Who are you to say, Emma? If you're so concerned, why not cook her some nutritious meals? That's all you're good for. Only I can nurture Isabel's talent. She dismissed me outright. If I knew more about piano, would she have listened? Either way, I still think it's too much. So I tried to make Isabel's daily life more relaxed. Finally, the day of the competition arrived. Isabel didn't seem particularly nervous, but I sure was. The playing order was determined by drawing lots, and Isabel was scheduled to play last. All the kids gave stunning performances, befitting a competition setting. Finally, it was Isabel's turn. I was hurried for the performance. My husband and in-laws took their seats in the middle of the hall. Isabel began to play. Her performance was awe-inspiring. Not what you'd expect from a fourth grader. The performance was dazzling and dynamic. It captivated everyone who was listening. When Isabel finished playing, there was a tremendous round of applause. Then it was time for the results. The names were announced from the bottom up. Isabel's name wasn't called until the very end, which had my heart pounding. And the winner is Isabel. As her name was announced, tears filled my eyes. Isabel was invited to make a speech. Before that, I was given an opportunity to speak. Thank you all for being here. As some of you may know, my daughter is blind. Yet, she never gave up on the piano and has practiced for countless hours. I want to thank my mill for recognizing Isabel's talent and encouraging her practice. I said this with pride, but Isabel looked distressed. Then it was her turn to speak. What came next was shocking. Thank you, everyone. As my mom just mentioned, I can't see. I've never been able to tell her this, but actually, I became blind because my grandmother deliberately blinded me. It wasn't an accident. The room was silent. The silence was short-lived, though. Murmurs quickly filled the room. Is it true she was blinded on purpose? I can't believe a grandmother would do such a terrible thing to her granddaughter. Frankly, that's just inhumane. I glanced towards where my mill was likely sitting in the middle of the audience. Sure enough, she was trying to leave. In a split second, I pointed and yelled, "That's Isabel's grandmother." Someone grabbed her. I was pointing at my mill. My mill was restrained by some men nearby. Her face turned pale, and she was visibly trembling. She yelled, "I've done nothing." Are you really going to believe a child? I was pointing at my mill. Isabel, did your grandma really cause your blindness? Yes. She said I didn't need my eyes to play the piano well, but she also told me to say it was an accident. How horrendous. When the incident happened, my mill had sounded genuinely sorry, asking, "Will Isabel ever see again?" I'm so sorry. I was there with her, so that was all an act. How foolish we were to have believed her then. I regret not listening more carefully to Isabel. Shortly after, the event organizers called the police, and my mill was taken away. As she was being led away, she kept shouting, "I've done nothing wrong. I don't want to go to the police." Imagine having the audacity to say that after blinding your own grandchild. The room was filled with disdainful glances at my mill. Thanks to her, the festive mood had completely shifted. But then, a savior reached out. This happened as we were leaving after the talent show had ended. While we were packing up to go home, A man approached us. Standing beside him was a girl who had won second place in today's talent show. "Excuse me, would it be all right if I examine Isabel's eyes? I'm actually an ophthalmologist." "No way. What a coincidence." But Isabel's eyes had been examined by multiple ophthalmologists, all of whom said they couldn't be healed. Could he really do anything about it? "We're grateful, but multiple doctors have told us her vision won't recover." I don't want to get Isabel's hopes up. I work at a university hospital that specializes in regenerative medicine. We could assemble a team to treat Isabel. Are you sure? Yes. Can we give it a try? I was hesitant to trust him instantly, but I thought, well, it's a university hospital, so maybe. I decided to ask Isabel what she thought. "Hey, Isabel, this doctor wants to examine your eyes. What do you think?" Isabel then responded, "If there's a chance I can see again, I want to be examined." She said it quite clearly. I began to think that maybe it's okay to trust this man if it's what Isabel wants. A few days later, I heard from the police about my Mill's confession. Once she got to the police station, my Mill finally opened up about what she did years ago. It turns out, just like Isabel said, my Mill sabotaged Isabel's eyes for the sake of her piano career. Isabel always had a talent for piano. My Mill knew this, but she thought if Isabel had some kind of handicap, she'd become a sensation overnight. She also believed that losing one sense would sharpen the others. In short, she damaged Isabel's eyes to heighten her sense of hearing. As my Mill had hoped, this led to an extraordinary blossoming of Isabel's piano talent. There are a dime a dozen pianists these days. To stand out, it helps to have a handicap like blindness. Look, she even became famous as the young blind pianist. Blaming me entirely is wrong. She had the nerve to say, "What she did is obviously assault." Thank goodness Isabel testified before the statute of limitations ran out. The time has come for her to face the consequences for all she did to Isabel. 3 months later, Isabel's eye treatment was almost over, and it was time to remove her bandages. She's been through various tests, doctor visits, and treatments, and has been really brave. When the nurse unwrapped the bandage, Isabel slowly opened her eyes. Then her face lit up in pure joy. "Mom, Dad, Grandpa, I can see," Isabel exclaimed with joy in her voice. After that, the doctor examined her and found that while her vision hadn't fully returned, it was good enough to be corrected with glasses or contacts. The first sight she saw in years seemed to be magnificent to her. "I'm so happy to see your faces. Can't wait to go to school, hang out with friends, and study. And of course, I'll keep practicing the piano," Isabel cheerfully said. Seeing Isabel so happy made us realize how worth it the treatment was. With her regained sight, Isabel was able to transfer from a school for the blind to a regular elementary school. She could now go to the same school as her neighborhood friends. Around the same time, my Mill's sentence was finalized. What she did was inexcusable and malicious, and she was handed a severe punishment. Looks like she'll be doing time. My in-laws decided they couldn't stay married any longer because of this. Though my Mill was against the divorce, thanks to a good lawyer my father-in-law hired, the divorce was finalized. He even demanded alimony and medical bills from my Mill for Isabel. It's going to be a hefty sum. During the divorce, the property was divided, and all of my Mill's share went towards paying the compensation. She had no money left, and even had to sell her valuable jewelry and designer bags to cover the remaining costs. She agreed to this because she really didn't want to go into debt. So in the end, my Mill was able to make the compensation payment to Isabel. My husband also decided to cut off ties with his Mill. He visited her in jail just once, but seeing no remorse on her part, he decided it was time to sever the relationship. "We're not planning on seeing you ever again, Mom. Even if you get out after serving your time, Don't even think about hanging around our neighborhood. We'll call the cops, he told her. So Mill was left all alone. Now on to us. We bought a new house in Isabel's school district, far away from the in-laws. We thought it'd be unhealthy to have Isabel live in a house with bad memories associated with Mill. We also decided to buy a new piano. We used the money from the hefty settlement we won from Mill for it. When we asked Isabel if that was okay, she was thrilled and said yes right away. So we built a soundproof room in the new house and purchased a grand piano, enabling Isabel to resume her musical activities. Previously, Mill was Isabel's piano teacher, so we had to find a new one. Luckily, one of the judges at a recent piano competition was so impressed with Isabel's performance that he offered to teach her personally. It's an honor, really. Isabel seems to really like her new teacher and attends the weekly lessons with enthusiasm. On days without lessons, she actively plays her new piano. Now, she can play any music she likes without feeling pressured by Mill. As her parents, we're all set to support whatever Isabel wants to pursue. The only unexpected snag has been the cost of the lessons. The only miscalculation was the cost of the lessons. Given that the teacher is well known, the lessons are a bit on the pricier side. So I've decided to take up part-time work. Even though I've been a stay-at-home mom until now, I'm willing to work hard for Isabel's sake. Now that I'm working, my husband and I have agreed to share household duties. My husband said, "I've let you handle it all so far. I'll help wherever I can for Isabel's sake." Hearing him say that, I feel like our relationship has gotten even stronger. We want to focus on supporting Isabel's dreams and living a happy life as a family of 3.